Hello and welcome to another watch review. I'm Average Joe and I provide an average perspective of everyday watches. Let's dive right in. As you can see here, we have the Breitling box. As you can see there. Alright, let's take a look and see what is inside. We have the hang tag, 1884, okay. And as you can see here, you have the Breitling embossing here on the leather, and also Breitling embossed here on the leather carrying case, or should I say travel case. Nice touch. So it's like a box within a box. I like how they do that. Nice presentation, but also practicality, where you can bring this along with you on a trip. So let's open up and see what we got here. Yes, we have the Breitling Chronomat Blackbird. I seem to review watches that don't get a lot of love in the community. This one doesn't get a lot of love for, and this is just my perspective. Here's the reasons why I think this watch doesn't get a lot of love. This is indeed a chronomat. Okay, there is actually a Blackbird that's not a chronomat that is featured by Breitling. So what they do here is they kind of bring the two together and make one watch, and I think that's one of the issues here. This, as you can see here in the red, Serie Special. That's my dog in the background. So, this is a very understated watch for Breitling. As you can see, the pilot's bracelet is a matte finish. Here's the Breitling on the clasp. It is a 5-link across. Some of the Breitlings that you see will have 7. And as you notice with the Breitling, the pilot bracelet especially here, this is one of my favorite bracelets in the watch world. I love the diagonal links. They actually serve a purpose, believe it or not, besides just being beautifully styled. So let's just say a particular link, one of these screws were to come loose for one reason or another. The way that this watch is designed, from what I understand, the bracelet still stays intact. I don't know how that is. I have not taken this bracelet apart, but I hear that there's a functionality to that. So as you even notice with the clasp itself, it's like off center at an angle, and it goes along very nicely with the bracelet. So definitely one of my favorite bracelets on a watch. So this actually has a unidirectional bezel, 120 clicks. It's got a luminescent pip at the top here, luminescence on the hands, and the hour markers as well. As you can see, you have, and let me see if I can kind of point this out to you, which it's pretty obvious, but you have the cursive B with the anchor on the second hand, which is activated with the chronograph feature. As you see here, you press it in, very stiff, quality, and you've got that smooth second hand. It's got a red tip on the second hand, but I love the white contrasting hands with this black dial. The dial does have dual anti-reflective coating, and as you can see, just based off of my angle here, it does pick up fingerprints pretty easily. Okay, especially when you have anti-reflective coating on watches, you seem to pick up almost what looks like an oily bluish tint, as you can see even right there. But as you can see, at all angles, you can see that dial very well without any type of glare. So the anti-glare is very, very nice on this watch. As you can see, it has the date at the 3 o'clock position. Okay. This is your continuous second hand, and as you can see, it runs just as smooth as the chronograph second hand there. The top will count off the minutes at the 12 o'clock position, and at the 6 o'clock position will tick off your hours. Okay, so let's see how this watch looks on the wrist. First and foremost, I have to compliment this particular watch on the quality of this clasp. It's got Breitling engraved, and it's got registered model, stainless steel, Swiss made there, and it's got a very quality stiff click with the safety clasp that goes on top and the Breitling emblem as well. So very nice detail. This is a very comfortable watch to wear, not very heavy, very understated watch in comparison to most of the Breitling lineup. For those, there are people in the watch community that aren't fans of Breitling, and the reasons being it's usually a overstated, meaning it's a bigger watch. This one here is listed at 40 millimeters, but I'm actually going to show you that this is actually technically not a 40 millimeter, and I'm going to show you why. It's also very matte finished. It's not a lot of polishing on this particular model, so it's smaller, it's more of a matte finish, so it's a little bit more understated than your typical Breitling. Here is the back of the case back right here. You can read that. I'm not going to get into. There's your model number, A13350. I will not give you the serial number. There are people out there, be careful, that will try to take your serial number and use it to produce fake watches and use that serial number. So be careful who you give this number to. So we will stop the chronograph feature, and let's get into the measurements of this watch. Okay, so as I stated, the bezel 40, here, check this out, 40 millimeters, but check it out. You notice the screws at each of the hour markers on the outside. That's where you're going to get your 40 millimeters right there. Okay? But if you were to measure the actual bezel without the screws, you are actually closer. Check that out. 38 millimeters. Oh, sorry. There's 30. Actually, even a little bit less. I mean, it's actually a tad less than 38 millimeters. But it's closer. It's like 37 and change. So right there, you can see that they're measuring the bezel based off of the 15-minute markers here, but also the screw at the end. So it's typically so this actually does not wear as a 40 millimeter, obviously because of that, but also if you take a look at the case itself, there's not a lot of case to this watch. I mean, it's pretty flush with the bezel. Even the lugs taper in, So I mean, this does not wear like a large watch at all. Alright. The watch also is not very thick, so you can wear this with a dress shirt, where this watch is actually 15 millimeters, and I'm going to show that to you right here. This is actually 15 millimeters thick. And check that out right there. You can see 15 millimeters. Okay? So, here's my impressions of this watch. This is a watch that I know a lot of you are going to cringe when I say this, is a watch that I actually wear doing yard work and things around the house, a lot of construction. It's a tough watch. Very durable. The movement is really solid. Let me just give you a quick tour as to, this is actually a screw down crown. So we will reverse it out until it clicks out. Okay. So the first position is to wind it. And when you wind it, you can actually hear it. Okay. What's also cool about this watch is that when you wear it and you move it, you actually feel the rotor. So if you move it a certain way, you will actually feel like almost like the watch is floating on your wrist. It's a really cool feel, and I've had people wear the watch, and were really surprised at how hefty that felt. And I like that. I know some people don't, and in the newer watches, they don't typically do that. But I really like the fact that this does that. This watch is from the 1998-99 era. So this definitely has some age to it, but I think it aged very well. I still think it looks, to the time period of today, being 2018, I think it fits very well. So the first position is your wind position. Your second position is going to be your date, which, here we go. There we go. So you bring it upward, so clockwise. We'll set your date, and you get a nice click. Doesn't take much. Some watches you have to play with, and it'll do it. This one here, as you see, just a little quarter. Every quarter of a turn, it clicks the date. So it actually can go through pretty quickly. And then obviously your third position is going to be setting the time. As you can see here, the second hand stops. That's called hacking. Okay, so if you want to set your time precisely, you can actually have the second hand go to the 60 mark, which will stop. Let's just say we'll stop it here at the 15 mark. Okay, and set it precisely to 210. Synchronize it with another watch that stopped at the 15. Press them both together, and you can have that, and that's hacking. Okay, so that's what they mean by the hacking feature, if you've ever heard that before. And then to get the crown back in, you just press it in and turn it until it goes back in, and that will get your water resistance back. If you have the crown out for any reason, water will get in and ruin your movements. So always make sure that this is screwed down.